I recently bought a Gold Fox Mini Monster from goldfoxusa.com, and I just want to do a quick little review on it and show you my setup here, because I've seen every which way people do it, and I don't think mine's any more innovative than any of theirs, but I do like this setup. At least keeps my water as clean as possible. I'm sure there's even more screens I could add to this thing, but I want to do a straightforward review on it. The mosquitoes don't kill me first. I definitely love this little thing. It's portable. Probably weighs about 8 pounds. You carry a couple batteries, a few pounds more, and then a battery box. When it comes to goldfoxusa.com, their customer service may have been good before, or if you're well known, but I literally got one email response when I asked about the availability of these battery boxes, and I made my own. After a while, you just want to get something done, so I just want to show you what I did. I bought a waterproof ammo box off of Amazon, and I'm not knocking this company. I work for a small business, so I know things happen and you get overwhelmed. Things happen within the family business or the business itself that make it really hard to respond to everybody's emails, and I hope they're gaining tons of popularity. All the videos I've seen online were really awesome, so I went ahead and I'm not trying to steal their idea. I'm not selling these. I just wanted to make my own. So what I did was I purchased a few items. I purchased the inverter that handles Milwaukee batteries. I don't know if you can see that very well. I purchased a governor, and these are all off of Amazon. They cost, I think $10 per item. This was about $7 or $8. So whatever batteries you have the most of, buy the inverter for that. What it does, it'll go from 18 volts down to 12 volts. And there's a little radiator inside here. And I just took a piece of sheet metal and I bent it in half at a 90, used the angle grinder to cut off some of the material so it bent right where I needed it to. Just cut out the slot with the angle grinder to fit the governor in here, and this is just going to be your speed regulator, and I think it's the same one that they use at goldfoxusa.com. You can find it on Amazon. But so all the guts are in here, but it's literally like 2 or 3 things that are sitting inside here. It's mainly wiring, and I just screwed it into the box, to the steel part, so that it's pretty stable. And then I ran a you can find these for boating and anything that you need that's waterproof. This works really well. I just cut out the hole with a drill. I think I used a 1/2 inch or inch bit, and stuck this thing in here, and it works great. And it's the same concept that Gold Fox USA uses. Like I said, I'm not trying to steal their idea. I just couldn't hear back from them, so I went ahead and made my own. And it was a little frustrating though, because I was willing to spend the money with them, but after a while I just decided to learn it myself, which is fine. But anyway, so we've got that. That's our battery box, and this thing weighs nothing. I think it's less than 5 pounds, and I could carry 2 or 3 Milwaukee batteries, 5 amp hour, the ones I'm using. I haven't tried it with an 8 amp or anything else, but I'm sure it'll work, and they last forever. I mean, you're not going to be running this thing except for a couple buckets at a time, and then after that you're going to do your clean out, and then you're going to turn it off. So I'm sure if you took this thing camping with you and you spent a couple of days out in the mountains, you'd still have plenty of room left to keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and put the battery in, and I'm going to go ahead and get it plugged in and get it ready. And I just kind of want to show you my setup. So what I have here is one of the concrete mixing bins from Lowe's. I think it was about 18 bucks. And then I've got 2 of the plastic, what are they, Rubbermaid containers, just the bins that you store all your old Halloween crap and Christmas crap in. They're the ones with the yellow lids. They're cheap, and so I think I got them for 8 bucks a piece. And so I filled those both up, and this one has the remnants of water from my last little run that I did. I started doing research on how you would keep the water as clean as possible, and you can use a lot of screens. I think I'll probably add a screen here or there. I made a screen out of some perforated steel, And that's if I'm sticking it in the river or a creek, which I'm sure will work fine because it worked great here when I was only using this by itself with a bucket. All I did was, so the first stage is going to be your Highbanker, and then all of your junk basically is going to fall off the back. I collect that in this tub so I can pan it later and see what if I've missed anything that might have been stuck to rocks. We got a lot of clay here in New Mexico. And then I've got this stage here, which I cut off the first 2 inches of a 5-gallon bucket from Lowe's just so it would fit underneath this last little lip extension of the Highbanker. I went ahead and filled that up with water as well, and then I've got a third one, which is where I want my pump to sit. The cleanest section that I have, so I can trust that that's not going to clog up this little, it's a Gold Fox sent me a 1100 gallon per hour C-Flow bilge pump. And so far this thing's been amazing, so I can't knock that either. Again, I'm not trying to knock the company itself, it's just customer service is kind of a big deal. And I sent 2 or 3 emails after I told them I had purchased, and just not even a response at all. And so maybe they're bombarded and it's just a few people that are working there, which I can understand. So I really do like the fabrication on this, though. It's a well-built backpackable Highbanker. I mean, it's freaking awesome for people that are on such a low scale like I am. I'm just doing this as a hobby. On the third stage, what I'm doing, I've looked up some YouTube videos to see how I can get this water to equalize and take mostly water and not take all the junk with it, and keep it up towards the top, because the heavy stuff is going to sink to the bottom. You might get some leaves or little twigs there every once in a while, but a gentleman on YouTube had a video showing this, just 2 90s and a couple pieces of PVC, and I used 2-inch on this, and it works great and it lasts quite a long time. It equalizes the level of these 2 tanks here, and so all you do is you just fill this up with water, and once you know it's full, take it, kind of cap it off with your hands, and then plop it down in there, and it creates a vacuum inside that will equalize the levels of these 2 tanks. And so that's all you really need, and it actually works really well. I did drill a couple of holes in this bucket so that as this increased, because the water is going to be going directly in here, not only does it keep the bucket held down, but then it'll equalize itself slowly, and the timing seems to be right on all that. Now this last one here seems to, obviously it's going to fill up over time, and I may do another one of these here just to get rid of this overflow, so I'm not having to stop every couple of buckets and empty it out. So we're going to just test it out with time, but I want to show you guys how it runs. I'm going to run a bucket of dirt that I went and gathered from up on the mountain. I'm here in New Mexico, so there's a chance we'll find some. I've found little flower gold and stuff, but it's nothing fantastic, but it's just a lot of fun. And so I got the dream mats. I requested those from Gold Fox, and they sent those along with a Jarvie riffle, which is cool because I think that's an upgrade, and then it's got some miner's moss underneath it. I took a torch to these 2 little pieces of PVC. I squeezed them down just a little bit, and it seemed I didn't pinch them too hard because I don't want it to be too much of a fan, but it really rumbles all the material while it's in there. So I think it does a good job cleaning up, and then also the angle that you have this at, you're going to have to test it out based on your sediment, what you're working with in your area. But being down here in New Mexico, we got a lot of sand, we got a lot of decomposed old granite that's fallen apart, and then we've got a lot of clay. So the clay is what I was really most concerned about. You know, it'll build up in the back here, but then you just kind of use your hands to push it down a little bit, just wash it yourself, and it's not a big deal. If you're trying to run a ton of material, probably going to want to buy a bigger Highbanker, like a Gold Hog or something. But this one, or they sell a bigger version as well. And I just felt like, because I like to backpack and maybe take it when I go hunting or fishing, that's perfect, and it's not going to be too much weight on my back. So let's go ahead and I'll set it up. I'm going to get it started, but if you don't have one of these things, just the first thing you should do, set it up, make sure that it's level this way, and then you want an 8. I've heard anywhere from 5 to 8 degrees. I've seen guys do more. Again, I think it's just depending on your area. So I've got it about 8 degrees, and I used a little angle finder, digital one, to tell me where I was at. And I set it on the flattest part of this inside here on the smallest part of the dream mat, because you got these huge riffles and shapes here that might not be accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up the hose and show you guys how this thing works. It's super simple. I really do appreciate the way these guys made this. I have seen people add some screen to the back here. I guess they didn't trust the way that they had cut these ribs out, but all I've noticed is that you don't really miss much. And I've panned out what comes out of the back end just to see if there's any gold in there. And I'm not in a high producing area, but it seems like there's nothing in there, and everything else gets caught in the mat. So I'm going to run this over here to the bilge pump, and then I just kind of hang it over the edge, because I found that, like I said, all the heavy junk that you don't want in your pump is going to be at the bottom of that. And so I'll just go ahead and plug it in to my power box. Get it in there. It's already pumping. So there you go. And the way I set up this governor, it's the same as theirs, I think. And it does have, you can push the button and it turns off. The power stays on because of this battery being plugged in, but if you want the power if you want to reserve power, just pull that battery out. But either way, it's still going to reserve power by being off. It just shows you the digital number on the display. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. The one thing I did want to mention is what I've seen tons of people tell you on their YouTube videos is jet dry. Use some jet dry and put a little sprinkle in there. I put them in each of them because it's going to circulate, and it gets a little soapy at first. Maybe I'm putting too much, but I have noticed that it does keep the gold from floating on the bubbles. And in New Mexico, from what I've seen, it's just a bunch of little tiny flour gold. I know there's big mines here up north and down south, but I seem to be in the area that's got a ton of volcanic activity, but it's a lot of basalt. So I'm just going to do research from now on and try to find the best places to go trek out. I'm using Onyx Hunt, the app, to kind of mark my places after I look at geological maps and do my research. So you don't want to go out there and just start digging in the dirt. Maybe you could get lucky, but I'm not gonna waste my time. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to run some dirt through here and we'll see what we find at the end. I like to run it at about 85, so I'll go ahead and just start using a little kitchen spoon. But if I was out in the river, I'd probably be using a shovel. And if I had more clay in this, I'd probably turn it up to 95 to 100% on that bilge pump, just to make sure it's clean and everything. You want to break it up, and I'll show you guys the place that I went to collect all this. Found this place on Onyx Hunt maps, and it wasn't like something that people had targeted before, but I definitely thought it looked interesting. I'm gonna come up this trail, and then I'm gonna break off the trail and head up into this little, well, not little, but a pretty large gully with some serious granite rock formations, and see what we can find. We're just here to take a little sample. Wow, that's a neat cave. Huh. I'm gonna have to hit that up on the way back. I want to show you guys up there, these neat rock formations. We're just going to take like a 30 or 40 pound sample and mark it on the GPS. It's got some quartz structure in it. I am not a geologist, and I won't pretend to be. I learned a lot from Jeff Williams, just watching his videos. I'm looking for some black sand. I should have brought a dang magnet with me, but I forgot about that. So see, there's some neat veins. So we got 2 targets so far. You're not really going to always find gold where there's black sand, so it's just a good indicator. I might dig a little test right here, because this is the farthest I can go, but this is a pretty big drop off, you know, and you can see the moss growing. So whenever there is water here, you know it gets to this spot, and it channels down here. So I brought this wet bag, and I brought this little chisel hammer. Pocket bud. There we go. That's 20 pounds, 30 pounds. Cool stones. I'm gonna have to take one of these home to Maria. And I will remember all those places that I just sampled because I marked them all on Onyx Hunt. All right, that's it. It's fun coming up here. All right, now I just got to make sure we don't eat shit on the way down. I took a cobalt shovel and I used the angle grinder, drew a pattern, cut it to a sharper angle on this part and this part. I kept it pretty much the same width on the top because I didn't want to lose any volume, as well as little as possible. And then I cut it off and I welded it to a piece of steel pipe with a perpendicular for a handle. But at the end I welded I don't know if you can see that, heads and tails. I put some nickels in there because they fit perfect in that pipe. So it's kind of cool. It's my good luck shovel. I like to take my gold pan, put her underneath while I'm doing the clean out, and then fill up a tub to clean out the mats. I just start from the bottom. Check for anything heavy. Set them down. And your next one. And you can already see that black sand collecting on the back of the mats, so that's always fun. Give you something to look for. And then for this last part, you just have to undo a little wing nut and pull out your Jarvie riffle and your miner's moss. Just try not to lose your nut. Try not to lose your nuts. Make sure you're not losing anything through the hole. If you're in a gold-free zone like mine, just clean off that Jarvie riffle first. Back on, and then take out this miner's moss. Wash it off real quick. We want to run the machine again and get all this extra the heavy sediment that's inside that fell underneath the mats. You want to get that down into your gold pan. So I'll turn it on one more time. Hold it tight. Jeff Williams always says, yeah, you're gonna get wet. Newbies like me are terrified that they're gonna toss all the gold over the edge. First off, you gotta be in a gold bearing district, but secondly, the heavy stuff will stay in the pan. So don't be too gentle. I'm probably still being too gentle compared to the guys I've seen online. So that's what you're looking for, and your gold is apparently going to be in the black sand. And I'd still need to get me a jeweler's loop, but I have found just minute particles of gold. So nothing to write home about, but still it's a lot of fun, and I strongly recommend it if you like to be in the outdoors and you enjoy this kind of stuff. And I can see some baby pieces of gold, but we're looking for the mother lode. So I'm still learning, but I just basically wanted to do a review on the mini monster itself, from Gold Fox USA. It's the backpack version, and my little setup here in my backyard. The funnest part is going out and doing research on where you want to go to look, and then bringing it back home, just hoofing it home, setting it up in your backyard, and seeing what you find, because you may get lucky, but like Jeff Williams always says, research is the most important aspect of this. Go where they've found gold before, and don't tread on people's claims, but check out some BLM land that might be open, and learn geology. I've gotten a chance to learn a lot recently. Just go down the rabbit hole, and it may pay off. So that's it, guys. That's the Gold Fox Mini Monster from goldfoxusa.com. I'm using a Garrett pan. I've got the classifier and then the smaller pan, and I have another classifier that I didn't show on camera that's it's used for sand and gravel, and that'll help me classify down lower if I need to, if I'm in that kind of area. So it's a lot of fun, and it's something to get you out in nature, and whether you find something or not doesn't matter. So don't get that miner's remorse or whatever they call it. Just have fun with it. So that's it. You guys have a good one.